Welcome to the Career Wanderlust podcast, your compass for new career horizons. Today, we are talking with Kevin Petschow. Kevin is an award-winning, results-oriented senior communications executive with both corporate and agency experience. He excels at storytelling, having led countless successful public launches of innovative tech products and services. He has a strength in taking complex technical matter and transforming it into easy to understand language that drives action. And he has done this for clients such as Cisco, Cineverse, Aris Communications, Sprint, 3Com, and so many more. Kevin is now the Senior Media and Communications Manager with Cato Networks, and I'm really excited to learn more. Kevin, thank you for joining us on the Career Wanderlust podcast.
Jolie, my pleasure. I'm excited to be here and look forward to having a great conversation.
Wonderful. Now, please, Kevin, could you share with us what you feel has been some of your favorite career advice and why?
It'd be my pleasure. Well, the first thing I had a mentor tell me coming out of college was, one, bring your authentic self to work.
Right.
If you don't do that, you're just not being true to yourself and true to your colleagues. And boy, when I first heard that, I didn't quite fully appreciate it. But boy, as the career has gone on, I wholeheartedly believe that. The second thing I really learned maybe in my mid-year of my career was you got to believe in the products and services and mission for the company you work for, the clients you serve. If you try to fake it to make it, it doesn't work. And I learned that the hard way with one particular company that I really didn't do my homework. And when I went to work for them, I really found out that products and services that they offered were just not in line with my morals and values, if you will. And so I had to quickly adjust, if you will. And the third and final thing, Jolie, is as trite as this may sound, is you got to have a little fun every day. I had that told to me by a mentor of mine, again, first job out of college. And I looked at him kind of strange and thought, what do you mean by that? And again, it took some time to get my career underway, but boy, I live by that every day. And I encourage everyone, have a little fun every day. And if you're not, then you got to do something different.
Oh, yeah. Really, really good advice, right? I mean, authenticity, right? I agree with you. It was something that I was told younger and I didn't fully understand either. Because you have these ideas of what you think you should be doing, right? Or I don't know, you're not fully, at least for me, I wasn't as fully comfortable in my own skin and ready to be authentic. So I thought I had to be like these other people, but that just doesn't make you happy. And then you end up in situations that aren't really you, and you're really even more less comfortable in your skin. So it's not the recipe for success. Really, really good advice. Yeah.
Exactly, Julie. And I parlay that into the next thing that I mentioned about believing in the products and services
Exactly.
or mission that you're working for. Again, like authenticity, you can't fake it to make it, if you will. You got to be real. You got to be true. And I've worked with some colleagues over my career that just not are themselves, and it comes off, and eventually it wears out, if you will.
Well, yes. Can you be truly successful if you don't feel good about what you're doing? If you don't feel good about the products that you're representing? I mean, can you
Yep.
really call that a success, right? And that's
Right.
what we're looking for, is that fulfillment, and which is what brings success. So, and then your final thing, to have a little fun every day, because look, this is our one life. This is it. And you spend so much time working. This is really vital advice. It really, really is. Have a little fun every single day. Every day is a gift. Every day is a blessing. And it's important to remember that.
And I really applied that during the pandemic when we were all stuck remote working from home, not being able to socialize with others like you were normally doing. And so I had to find other ways to have a little fun every day.
What'd you do?
And life did get a little mundane. Well, I'm very fortunate. I live in Tampa, Florida, so I was able to get outside a lot. And you'd be surprised at how all of a sudden I became very fond of the birds, the squirrels, the animals that run around by my home, or the sunshine that you can get out and walk and get some fresh air, if you will, down to finding other ways to get exercise, because I obviously couldn't go to the local fitness center. So you'd be amazed at what you can Google and find out there that you can alternatively do when those kinds of things happen to you. And it really goes to what my father used to tell me, and that is how you handle crisis situations is truly a way in which you can define who you are and not let it define you.
Completely, completely. And nature is the free therapy. I mean, I found a lot of comfort from that myself. And it's amazing how what you can find that you enjoy when you're forced to try to get creative and learn some new things. That just adds a lot of beauty into your life as well. So
Yep.
it's just a matter of making the steps to go for it. So, well,
Indeed.
now I love story time. Could you share with us a story of something impactful that happened to you in your career at some point? What happened? What did you learn from it?
Well, there's a lot of things I could talk to you about, Julie, but the ones that come to mind is working for highly competitive companies in the telecommunications and information technology and cybersecurity industries has resulted in several times trying to launch a new product or service. And guess what? Competitors beat you to the punch, so to speak. They will get out there and announce a similar competitive product, and then you have to react. And so I remember several times at Cisco Systems that would happen, but man, I just enjoyed how the team that I worked with would come together and come up with all other ways in which we could still get our day in the sunshine, so to speak, and announce our product. Now, it would require us maybe to delay the announcement of our product or do something a little bit different, but man, it taught you how to really be responsive and still be able to get back up off the mat after you've taken a pretty good punch from a competitor. Now, it also helps to, in the cases of Cisco Systems, I worked under a great CEO, maybe the greatest CEO I'll ever have the opportunity. His name is John Chambers. And he just had the ability to get out there and help us tell the story in such an eloquent way that it made it also easy. We also had wonderful customers and partners that would get out there and help tell the story. But again, very competitive, but you just got to really be prepared. And we always did have contingency plans whenever we would do that. You know, the other thing that I learned along the way too, Jolie, was I've had to handle a number of level one crises for the companies that I've worked for. And one company in particular I recently worked with, well, we had a ransomware attack on our network.
Oh,
and our network had data and information not only for our own company, but for all of our customers, which were many of the large banks, telecommunications service providers, and other large enterprises. Well, the lesson I learned out of that, Julie, is you have to have a crisis communications plan in place. And oh, by the way, you got to rehearse, you got to practice. You can't just put that plan up in a file and just let it go. But every once in a while, you got it. So lo and behold, when that ransomware attack, about a month beforehand, ironically, I pulled together our senior leadership team, and for a whole day, we went through a mock interview of a ransomware attack and used our plan and applied
this
it
was a
so
month
that when
before.
a month before.
Wow.
But as we all know, Jolie, that stuff happens every
It
day
does.
now. That's just an everyday occurrence. But boy, it was
Smart.
just so good that we had it all ready, rehearsed, and planned, and we were able to weather the storm. Did not have our brand or our name impacted negatively. We did not have any financial significant loss as a result of it. And our relationship with our customers were just fine. But boy, that was a big one, and not long ago.
Oh, yeah. No, that I can't even imagine all the things that you'd have to deal with in something like that. But really smart to practice beforehand. Really smart. And I have to say, with what you said previously about all of the change and having to adapt when somebody else comes out with a product before you and having to come up with something new. It was just making me think that things along those lines, when dealing with something like that at work, has that helped you be adaptable in your personal life as well?
Oh, absolutely. And ironically, one of my mantras, Jolie, is to remain calm, cool, and collected at all times. So I've not only applied that in my business life, but also in my personal life, because as a communications professional, you've got to have a steady Eddie kind of mindset and be cool and calm and collected all the times while others around you are really going crazy. And in the case of this ransomware attack, I had some senior level executives that were really losing it, so to speak. But for me, I just had to remain the calm part of the whole process. And with some help with some good lawyers and outside forensics firm and counsel, we were able to get through it. But yeah, calm, cool, and collected. That's my mantra.
What helps you stay calm, cool, and collected? Is there anything that you can share? I'm curious.
Well, thanks to my doctor who diagnosed me 20 years ago with hypertension. It's all about exercise. It's all about diet. It's all about, as my doctor told me, he said, you need to quit sweating the small stuff
Right.
and really letting go. And then obviously he's now helped me with such things as yoga and meditation. Who would have
Nice.
thought this guy would have been doing yoga and meditation? But he's challenged me every year in my annual physical, and I thank him for that. I'm also just lucky enough that I surround myself with like-minded people, if you will. I don't look for yes people, but I look for people that have some of those same values, same morals, same alignment in life. And that's helped out a great deal. And
Yeah.
I've also learned through that process, Jolie, that some people come into your life and some people leave. You just have to kind of move on sometimes. And that's just how the world goes around.
Yep. Personally and professionally. Exactly. Thank you for sharing that. And your doctor is right on with all of those things. All of those things do help you stay the steady Eddie, like you said. Well, now could you tell us a little bit more about Cato Networks? What does the
Sure.
company do well? What attracted you to the position there? And if you can comment, what do you think has helped serve you in landing your corporate roles?
To answer the latter one that you asked, I'm happy to share with you that the way I landed at Cato Networks is a tried and true way that most people, if you're into networking, this is how you go about do it. But the gentleman who hired me at Cato Networks, I've known him for over 20 years. In fact, he used to be an editor of an IT magazine that I used to pitch and call on when I was working for Cisco Systems.
That's
And
awesome.
wouldn't you know it, I'd maintained that relationship for 20 years. We remained good friends. And so when I saw this opportunity, I got a hold of him and I said, "Hey, would you be willing to refer me to this job at Cato Networks?" He started laughing because he goes, "I'd be happy to." And he says, "In fact, I'm the hiring manager." So, you know, it's, with that, he turned me over to the recruiter. And I kid you not, Jolie, everything was signed, sealed, and delivered within 30 days or less. That was
Fantastic.
last December over the holidays of Christmas and New Year's. And yes, there was other candidates, and yes, I had competition, but I worked all the things you needed to work to make sure that I did what I did, and bada bing, bada boom, got in. And
Love
I
it.
got to tell you, I'm so excited to be at Cato Network because it's a company that is a startup, been in existence since 2015, started by two gentlemen over in Tel Aviv, Israel, who have a background in cybersecurity, and they came up with Nirvana. And this is something I dreamed about when I was at Cisco Systems. I watched IT leaders deal with the fact that they had to buy networking products
Mhm.
and security products separately and then somehow make them integrate and work together. And that was a real challenge. It was an expensive challenge. It took a long cycle time. Well, guess what? Our two founders of Cato Networks came up with the way with it's an all-in-one solution, and IT leaders can deploy it rather quickly with less expense, less time, and have much more efficiency. And guess what? In this day and age that we live in of all the cyber attacks, we're able to help companies identify those attacks, or more importantly, stop those from happening on their networks and stopping their businesses. And so Cato
Amazing.
Networks to me is at the right place at the right time. And yes, there are other companies that are offering it, other companies that are publicly traded. We're still privately held, and we're doing our very best to become publicly traded. But we do have competition, but those other competitors have basically Jimmy rigged or hodgepodge their solution into
Mhm.
one, whereas we can say ours was built from the ground up.
Fantastic. Oh, I think that's amazing. I love it when companies come up with that solution that's just been waiting to be filled. That's wonderful.
Yep. Yep.
So, before you go, Kevin, could you tell us about something that you've either read, watched, or listened to that had a positive impact on you that you think could positively benefit other people as well?
Sure. Well, I know this is a bit of a self promotion, but this book right here to me is one of the best. But
Thank
suffice it to say, Jolie, I know I don't want to overdo it here or overstay
thank
my
you.
welcome. But here's another book that I started reading last year when I took a little time off from work just to get my battery charged. It's called I'm Not Done. It's written by a colleague that I used to work with at Goal, and her name is Patty Temple Rocks. And this book she wrote a couple years ago, it's all about ageism in the workplace.
Right.
And what this book really helped me do was find my new mojo, if you will, before I joined Cato Networks.
Great.
And at this stage of my career, really try to understand that being a baby boomer like I am, how do I fit into an organization with people that are much than I am and maybe think and act differently than I do. And so that book, I highly recommend it. And Patty is a good writer and a good public relations communications counselor as well.
I love it. And such an important topic. I mean, something that we all need to be talking about more and making sure that we
Yes.
have this nice mix of all the ages within the communications world and all of the different types of corporations and agencies.
Yep.
Well, really important topic.
Indeed.
Thank you. I'm going to check that out.
Yes.
Kevin, thank you so much for joining us on the Career Wanderlust podcast. I've loved chatting with you and I appreciate it.
Well, my pleasure, Julie. And as I always say, have a little fun every day.
Every day. Thank you. Thank you for joining us on the Career Wanderlust podcast. If you find value in learning from others, give us a like and subscribe. If you're looking to grow your communications, marketing, public relations, or sales and biz dev team with the best talent and quickly, check us out at paradigmstaffing.com and submit a request. We are wishing you a most successful and fulfilling career. Until next time.